everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share a story about a woman named Pachita and her healing gifts. As a little girl, Pachita began to hear voices, and by the age of 10, she was already demonstrating the ability to heal people. As a girl, she would slip into trance and claim that her body was being taken over by an entity she called El Hermanito, or in English, the little brother. She would later identify El Hermanito as the last emperor of the Aztecs and nephew of Montezuma. Her first patient was an elephant. Pachita claims that she was unaware of her own healing abilities until one day while attending a circus performance near where she lived in the country's north. She discovered a baby elephant that was very sick. Pachita approached this animal and cured it, and from that moment on, she began her career as a healer. While in her trance state, Pachita could heal people. She could see the future, and she would often speak languages unknown to her. By the time she was a young adult, Pachita left and headed to the big city. She established herself in the building later known as the Casa de las Brujas on the tree-lined Plaza de Rio de Janeiro Street, where she lived and had a small consultation office. It did not take Pachita much time to cultivate a loyal following from all social economic states and classes, including some high-ranking members of Mexico politics and social groups who would secretly visit her. Before her healings and procedures with people, Pachita had a specific routine to prepare herself. She would sit in a chair in front of an altar in her consultation room and then would close her eyes and breathe softly until she would hear a soft buzzing in her ear. According to Pachita, the buzzing indicated that a shift in her state was about to occur, as if she was about to fall into a big hole into another form of conscience or another dimension of consciousness. She would then let go and perform whatever healing was necessary as directed by forces outside of her control. Pachita was known for her psychic surgery, very rarely seen outside the Philippines, where it was reported and accepted to be practiced since the 1950s. The procedure consists of the following. Without the use of surgical instrument, a practitioner will press the tips of his or her fingers against the patient's skin in the area to be treated. The practitioner's hands appear to penetrate into the patient's body painlessly, and blood seems to flow. The practitioner will then show organic matter of foreign objects apparently removed from the patient's body, clean the area, and then at the end of the procedure, with the patient's skin showing no wounds or scars. Pachita did not use her bare hands when practicing her craft. Rather, her go-to tool for her operations was an old hunting knife, which its handles fixed with an excessive layer of duct tape. She would perform her surgeries swiftly and efficiently, often operating on several people at a time, and always with one or two assistants helping her. Procedures were done under a dim light, preferably in candle light, as Pachita claimed that bright lights harmed organs. Witnesses claimed that she could conjure new organs out of thin air, and even with her crude tool, no one suffered from infections or bad side effects from the lack of use of anesthesias or anything. Pachita was the only one in Mexico performing psychic surgeries. She drew a lot of attention to herself from Mexicans and from people overseas. People came to the Casa de Brujas from all over the world to witness or debunk. One such investigator was Dr. Andrea Pochorich, I believe I said the name correctly. I probably didn't. An American paranormal investigator whose claim to fame was bringing psychic Uri Geller from Israel to the United States and making him a worldwide sensation. From the visit to Pachita in January 1978 with a small group of investigators to study her methods in depth. By the time of the visit, Pachita was close to 80 years old and still doing 8 to 10 consultations or healings per day. Here is his testimony and his experience. I decided to undergo instant surgery myself before allowing any of my own patients to be operated on by Pachita. For 2 years, I've been suffering the gradual onset of spongy bone growth in both ears, causing progressive loss of hearing. The operation was to correct this. I was not hypnotized before the operation, nor was given any medication. I laid down on the table, and some cotton pads were placed around the ear to absorb bleeding. 3 witnesses were present, one whom was taking pictures. Holding the knife in the right hand, Pachita quickly inserted 3 inches of the knife blade into the right ear canal. The forefinger of her left hand guided the blade in. The pain was acute, yet I did not scream or try to avoid the knife, even though it felt as if the tip of the blade had penetrated the eardrum. After holding the knife in the ear canal for 40 seconds, Pachita withdrew it and the pain ceased immediately. The left ear was operated on in a similar way. This time, the pain was even greater, close to my breaking point as soon as the knife was withdrawn. However, the pain stopped. The surgery had taken 3 minutes. Pachita used her bare hands, was covered with blood from previous operations. After the operation, there was only minimal bleeding, but a new complication appeared. My head was ringing with loud noises, so loud that I could not hear what people were saying to me. I was given some type of eardrops and was told to put 1 drop in my ear each day daily. The noises decreased gradually, and by the 8th day after the operation had ceased altogether. In fact, my hearing was now so acute that I suffered painfully from this, which is abnormally increased power of hearing. This condition lasted for about 2 weeks. 1 month after the operation, my hearing was completely back to normal. After this experience, I felt complete confidence in Pachita's treatment and able to recommend her instant surgery to patients. While known for these unconventional surgeries, Pachita also performed other sorts of consultations for her clients, often in her famous trance states. Many of her treatments used the patient's own belief system for help in their healing. Those who had strong faith in the Catholic religion, for example, were given specific prayers to say or offerings to make to specific saints. Pachita was said to use her gifts or ESP to act as a sort of psychotherapist to help clients work through emotional issues or medical conditions that were based on emotional states. She also well versed in the use of Mexican herbs. After studying healing methods used by indigenous healers throughout the country because of her vast knowledge of Native American herbal medicine, Pachita was often classified as a shaman. In fact, many authors shared stories of Pachita's healing gifts. Pachita died on April 29, 1979 in an upscale neighborhood in the city of Mexico called La Colonia Roma. She passed away in a house that the locals referred to as La Casa de las Brujas. It is now said that she is one of the spirits that haunts this house. So now, guys, I want to share with you a little history of the Casa de las Brujas. As for the Casa de las Brujas, history has it listed as a hotel and luxury apartments. The house was called La Casa de las Brujas by neighborhood children years before Pachita moved in. And this was because they found the house to be scary because the tower at the top of it looked kind of like a witch's hat. Those who have lived in the building now claim that it is haunted. One famous radio show received a phone call during one of its shows from a woman named Brenda. Brenda claimed that when she first moved in, she would hear noises, which she thought it was her neighbors. After a day or 2 later, she learned she had no neighbors. She claimed to see shadows, demonic figures, and even the spirit of Pachita herself. She didn't last long in that building. And to this day, it is said that tenants move in the building, but no one lasts very long in La Casa de las Brujas. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate this. And if you do like videos like this, please put a thumbs up. Drop your comments. Let me know what you think about this story. This definitely left a huge impact and definitely made me think about things. So I definitely wanted to share this story. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.